Texas Tech. 8-5 last year for Joey McGuire's Red Raiders. They start the season with a stretch of non-conference games, and then you see it all begins with the Utes and then Houston. LD, what jumps out at you?
Well, I love the fact that the first 3 games of the season for Coach McGuire and his team is at home, right? That's an added benefit to, I don't care who you play. That's a huge thing. But then it gets to a tough stretch where they've got some of the tougher games. They've got them on the road. They've got Arizona State. They've got Kansas State. Then they finish with a game that I don't know what to make of the Mountaineers, but I know going to play them at their place is always going to be difficult. But again, if you look at how this team, they finished with 8 wins. That's another sneaky team with wins, by the way. If you look at how they finished, there are a tough, gritty team that can travel wherever they play. And I'm excited to watch these guys and get back. And again, I think when they've got, Kansas at home, they've got Oklahoma State, they got BYU at home. I think that is going to be critical, getting some of the tougher little teams that they match up against a little bit off at their own place.
What sneaks up on you about this schedule when you look at it?
Well, I think for the simple fact that they've got to be careful with some of these non-conference games. If you remember last year, it took a Herculean effort at the end against Abilene Christian. They won like 50-plus points. And again, 50 to 54, if I'm not mistaken.
It was dicey.
It was tight. It was tight. So again, you've got to make sure you take care of business. They do have Oregon State there. So that is one that you cannot overlook, trying to get momentum into conference play. So again, I'm anxious to see how they start off and how they can continue that trend going into some of the tougher games late in the year against BYU and then on the road to West Virginia.
First time in almost 50 years that Joey McGuire and the Red Raiders, Joey McGuire, obviously a former Baylor coach and assistant under Matt Rule and Dave Aranda, they will not face off this year. That's one of those things we're dealing with now as we move into the new age.
Yeah, Pete, I think that's just what we're dealing with in college football this year, but we just roll with it and see how the thing plays out at the end of the year.